Αλλάζουμε τώρα θέμα και κλίμα. Έφυγε από τη ζωή ένας από τους πιο αγαπημένους ιερείς της ομογένειας, ο Πατέρας Αντρέας Χατζησαββής. Στις 23 Οκτωβρίου πραγματοποιήθηκε στον Ιερό Ναό του Αγίου Ιωάννου του Βαπτιστού, όπου ο πρωτοπρεσβύτερος Ανδρέας Χατζησαββής υπηρέτησε με πολλή αγάπη τον μεγαλύτερο χρόνο της ζωής του, η εξόδιος ακολουθία. Όπως θα δείτε και στο βίντεο που ακολουθεί, την εξόδια ακολουθία τέλεσε ο Σεβασμιότατος Αρχιεπίσκοπος Θειατήρων και Μεγάλης Βρετανίας Νικήτας, πλαισιωμένος από τον Μητροπολίτη Κολωνίας κ. Αθανάσιο, τον Επίσκοπο Μελιτίνης Μάξιμο, τον Επίσκοπο Κλαυδιουπόλεως Ιάκωβο και πολλούς ιερείς της Αρχιεπισκοπής. Την κύρια ομιλία έκανε ο Σεβασμιότατος Αρχιεπίσκοπος Νικήτας, ενώ τα παιδιά του πατέρα Ανδρέα αναφέρθηκαν στη ζωή και το έργο του αγαπημένου τους πατέρα. Εκ μέρους της κοινότητας χαιρέτησε και ο ιερατικός προϊστάμενος πατήρ Απόστολος. Εκ μέρους του Hellenic TV να ευχηθούμε στην οικογένεια του εκλειπώντος θερμά συλληπιτήρια.
Αγίων Πατέρων ημών, Κύριε Ιησού Χριστέ ο Θεός, ελέησον και σώσον ημάς.
Αμήν. Του Αγίου Δεσπότου ημών, Κύριε Ιησού Χριστέ ο Θεός, ελέησον ημάς.
Αμήν. My dearest presbytera, this I know is a most difficult moment for you, your children, your grandchildren, and all the family. But at the same time, it's a difficult moment for the community and the entire church. Because you see, because of the outpouring of love of the community, we bear witness to the person, to the message in the life of Father Andrea. There are those people who live their lives in simplicity and almost in solitude, who for one reason or another go unnoticed by the world. But in the case of Father Andrea, he was not unnoticed by the world and its people. You see that from the community which gathers along with the clergy to give to you love and support. Because Father Andrea gave his love and his support to people. When speaking with clergy about the qualities and the characteristics that make a good priest, education is not one of them, nor are abilities and skills, either in liturgics or chanting or anything else. What makes a good priest is the one who shows love and the one who responds to the needs of a community. How many times he got up in the middle of the night and ran to the hospitals. How many times people called him and he responded. And that is because he was a good priest. He served Christ and the church faithfully and loyally. That's because he served from his heart. There are those amongst us who may have great theological training and degrees, but Christ and the disciples didn't. But the disciples had something very simple. and that was faith, humility, and love. And those are amongst the characteristics which describe Father Andrea. Father Andrea's last days were like one of those turbulent storms where the skies become dark and there's great thunder. It was one of those days of a downpour. But when that finally comes to an end, there is peace. And in the case of Father Andrea, not only did the sun come through, but the rainbow, to give peace to him and to finally offer him rest, which he had prepared for. He spent so much time with all of his family and community members, so many who wanted to come, so many who wanted to knock on the door and just say that simple thank you for coming when I needed you. And now, the community also needs Father Andrea. For where he is, he will pray for us and he won't forget us. He'll continue to intercede before God for this community and its people. When we build a house, we try to lay secure and safe foundations. Father Andrea, in building the church on earth and helping to keep it strong, try to place sure foundations. Πολλές φορές όταν ευρίσκομαι με κόσμο της παροικίας, μου αναφέρουν το παράδειγμα του πατρός Ανδρέου, ο οποίος έσπευδε στα νοσοκομεία, στα κημητήρια, στον άνθρωπο όταν είχε ανάγκη. Δυστυχώς έφυγε από αυτή την ζωή, γιατί λέω δυστυχώς, γιατί γινόμαστε κάπου λίγος πιο φτωχοί σε αυτή τη ζωή. Αλλά είμαστε άνθρωποι της πίστεως και της ελπίδος. Είμαστε άνθρωποι που πιστεύουμε στην Ανάσταση. Και ζητούμε εμείς από τον Πατέρα Ανδρέα να δώσει και σε μας λίγο κουράγιο και υπομονή. Να δώσει και σε μας τη δύναμη να συνεχίσουμε τον αγώνα. Κρατούσατε οι περισσότεροι ένα κεράκι αναμένο τώρα στην ακολουθία, το οποίο το κεράκι και η φλόγα ομιλούν για το Χριστό, για το φως, για την αλήθεια. Αυτά που επίστεψε, εκήρυξε και έζησε ο πατήρ Ανδρέας. Ο πατήρ Ανδρέας που ήταν με χαμόγελο και ταπεινός. Ο πατήρ Ανδρέας που είχε πάντοτε μία ιστορία, έναν λόγο να μοιράσει, δύο λόγια να πει. Και από εκεί που είναι ζητούμε κι εμείς την ευχή του. Η παροικία και η ενορία, η κοινότητα και όλος ο κόσμος εκφράζει τα συλληπιτήρια σε εσάς πρεσβυτέρα και στην οικογένεια. Και ο Θεός να του χαρίσει εκείνη την θέση στη Βασιλεία των Ουρανών. Και όσοι είπαμε στις προσευχές, εγώ και οι αδερφοί, οι αρχιερείς, οι πατέρες, να τον κατατάξει και εκείνων λειτουργών στη Βασιλεία των Ουρανών, να ευχηθούμε και εμείς στον Πατέρα Ανδρέα καλό παράδεισο. Και δεν πιστεύω ότι πρέπει να το ευχηθούμε, γιατί το είπε ο Χριστός, όποιος πιστεύει σε μένα θα δει την Ανάσταση της ζωής. Αλλά ας ευχηθούμε καλό παράδεισο, Πάτερ Ανδρέα, και θα σας δούμε κάποτε στην Ανάσταση με τον Χριστό. Αμήν. Θα ζητούσα τώρα από τα παιδιά του πατρός Ανδρέου, τα οποία είναι γνωστά σας, να σας προσφωνήσουν και εκείνοι να πούν δύο λόγια για τον αγαπημένο και ευλογημένο τους πατέρα.
Θέλω να ευχαριστήσω τον Σεβασμιότητα Νικήτα, τον Επίσκοπο Ιάκωβο, τον Επίσκοπο Μαξίμος, ο Επίσκοπος Αθανάσης, όλοι οι Ιεροί, ομαία του Έφυγε, συγγενείς και φίλους. Ο πατέρας μου ήταν ένας πάρα πολύ δυναμικός άνθρωπος. Καταγόταν από μια απλή αγροτική οικογένεια, αλλά αυτό δεν το σταμάτησε να γίνει μια θετική δύναμη στις ζωές όλων όσων είχε τη χαρά να γνωρίσει. Ο Αντρέας Χατζησαββής γεννήθηκε στις 16 Δεκεμβρίου του 1952 στην Κύπρο και 8 χρόνια αργότερα μετανάστευσε στη Μεγάλη Βρετανία γιατί η μητέρα του χρειαζόταν ιατρική βοήθεια. Η ζωή στο Λονδίνο ήταν δύσκολη, αλλά ο μικρός Αντρέας πάντα βρίσκονταν κοντά στην εκκλησία και στη θεία του τη Μαριά, που πάντα τον έπαιρνε από τη χέρι και τον πήγαινε στην εκκλησία των Αγίων Πάντων. Ο πατέρας μου πάντα είχε μια τεράστια αγάπη και ευγνωμοσύνη για αυτή την εκκλησία. Ο πατέρας μου όχι μόνο αγαπούσε την εκκλησία, αλλά και αγαπούσε και την παιδεία. Κατάφερε να σπουδάσει να γίνει οικονομολόγος και ως ένας από τους πιο αγαπητούς και καλούς μαθητές στο πανεπιστήμιο. Κατέφερε να γνωρίσει όχι μόνο την βασίλισσα, αλλά και τη μητέρα της βασίλισσας. Όταν τέλειωσε το πανεπιστήμιο, άρχισε δουλειά στο City of London. Γρήγορα όμως κατάλαβε ότι ο δρόμος του Θεού, ο δρόμος της Εκκλησίας, ήταν για αυτό ο δρόμος που ήθελε να πάρει ζωή του και έτσι αποφάσισε να ιερωθεί. Έναν επάγγελμα που το έκανε μέχρι τέλος της ζωής του για 40 ολόκληρα χρόνια. Η παλιά γενιά θα θυμάται τον πατέρα μου για τα ωραία τηλεμετάδοσεις που οργάνωνε για τους Αγίους Αναγύρους, για το Σύνδεσμο Αγγλοακανθού και το Greek Orthodox Islington Association and St. John the Baptist Church. Διοργάνωνε φιλανθρωπικούς εκδηλώσεις για να μαζέψει λεφτά για το νοσοκομείο του North Middlesex για heartbeat monitors. Θεωρούσε ως πιο μεγάλη επιτυχία ότι κατέφερε να μαζέψει πάνω από 200.000 λίρες για τη στεγή της Εκκλησίας και έναν grant 300,000 από την κυβέρνηση. Ο πατέρας μου ήταν ένας μοναδικός άνθρωπος που πάντα έκανε ό,τι μπορούσε για να βοηθήσει όποιον ζητούσε την βοήθεια τους. Σε ώρα ανάγκης και όταν ο ίδιος περνούσε δύσκολες ώρες, πάντα είχε τη δύναμη ψυχής να σταθεί ψηλά και με ένα χαμόγελο. Εάν θα πάρουμε ένα δίδαγμα από τη ζωή του πατέρα Αντρέα, είναι ότι πρέπει να αγαπούμε ο ένας τον άλλον και να δεχόμαστε με τη ζωή με θάρρος και σεβασμό προς τον συνάνθρωπο μας. Ακόμα και στο τέλος της ζωής του, όταν πλέον αρρώστια έκανε την καθημερινότητα του τόσο δύσκολη, ήφρεσκε την δύναμη να μας ετοιμάσει για το τι θα συμβεί στο θάνατο του. Αντρέα, κανένας δεν θα ξεχάσει ποτέ αυτό το χαμόγελο, τη ζεστή σου αγκαλιά, τη αποδοχή, τη συγχώρηση και την προθυμία σου να βοηθήσεις όλους όσους σε είχαν ανάγκη. I would like to begin by extending my thanks to His Eminence, Nikitas, Bishop Iakobos, Bishop Massimos, Bishop Athanasios, priests, Mayor of Haringey, family and friends in attendance today. Everyone will remember you for being Bad Andrea, but I will remember you for being my dad. My dad was a driven individual that even though he came from humble beginnings, he was determined to be a positive force in the lives of all those he met. Andreas Hadzisavvīs was born on the 16th of December 1952. He spent his early years in Cyprus and came over to England when his mother fell with cancer. He had a difficult start to life in the UK like all Cypriots, but always stayed close to the church. He loved the church. His Auntie Maria would take him to the Church of All Saints in Camden. That was his first love. He always loved that church. My father loved the church but equally loved education. He went on to study economics at Hull University. At university, he was selected to meet the Queen Mother and the Queen with other students. He was an exceptionally intelligent man who went on to work in the city. My dad, though, had other ideas. He always had a close connection to the church. He loved being around people and helping those in need, and he became a priest over 40 years ago. If there was one thing the older generations can remember him for, was his infamous dinner and dances. Some of the best nights he had organising was charity events. These are some of his achievements. My dad raised money for the church at Ayus, where they were able to buy the land which they built the church hall and the flats next door. Fantastic achievement. My dad raised money for Aglagantu Aid Association by organising many dinner and dances over the years, most notably bringing his beloved Tottenham Hotspur football team after their FA Cup triumph in 1982. They even brought the trophy with them. The pictures can be seen in the Bariki Agin. With this, they were able to purchase their own premises, heartbeat monitors for North Middlesex and Nicosia General Hospital. My dad was also part of the Greek Orthodox Islington Association and helped raise money for the William Harvey Special Needs School. But the greatest achievement was raising over £200,000 to help restore the church roof and obtaining a grant of £300,000 from English Heritage, which he tirelessly organised himself, as well as numerous dinner and dances over the years to help the upkeep and support the church. You should all know, you probably bought a raffle ticket off him. This was his life, raising money for good causes and making a difference. When I was young, I never really understood Dad's role in the community. It wasn't until I became a lot older that I realised what it meant to be Padre Andrea, a figure of love and care in time of people's needs, but also there for happy occasions. The earliest memory I have was seeing people gather around my dad and smiling. He had an aura about him that not many of us have. As I got into my teens, I wasn't Stavro. I was Padre Andrea's son. It made me realise how important a figure this man was. His family wasn't just us, it was all of you. He dedicated his life to everyone. He was well known by everyone in the community and was a celebrity in his own right, and he loved it. On some of the few occasions I ever had to drive him anywhere, it wasn't, we're just going to be an hour, it was a day outing. He loved talking to people, but the man had no concept of time. Dad, I have something to confess to everyone. Thank you for helping me with my dissertation. It was no coincidence I picked RE at university. You inspired me to understand my faith, but by third year, it was only right that we came together. He was such an intelligent man. I would often joke we could have been millionaires if you stayed in the city. But he'd always say, the most important thing in life is to have faith in God. You can't take money with you. Dad, I've now only realized I've tried to emulate you in every way. I hope I've made you proud. Lockdown brought families closer together, but the last lockdown I was able to spend time with you. I learnt more about you than I ever knew. Although the tumours are growing, you still told us so much about your life, the hardship, the struggle, the abuse at times, but you carried on because you had the grace of God in your heart. Andrea, you created a legacy that will never die. You are the most famous of all priests and the most loved. Why? Because you were there for everyone. All week I've been thinking of my favourite memories of Dad, but I have too many to tell. I'll miss his eccentric ways, his smile, his warmth, his big arms, his hugs. I will miss his sayings and coming home with 100 lemons, 100 tomatoes. The man always bought in bulk. I will miss his distinct voice when walking through the door, and I will miss my dad. If there is one thing that we can learn from Padre Andrea, it's to love one another and treat everyone with respect. Even when you were ravaged by the disease, you kept your faith and gave us all the strength to prepare us for what was to follow. Andreamu, The world will never forget that smile, those open arms, the acceptance, forgiveness, and willingness to help everyone in need. I will miss you, Dad. Thank you for being the best.
Thank you to Your Eminence and to everyone for coming here today to honour my dad and to celebrate his life. How do I describe what my dad and all the family have been through over the last few months? There are not enough words. But like every family who has lost a loved one, the overwhelming feeling is devastation that we will not see, hear, or be with you, at least on this earth. However, Dad always said that we are just passing through, and I'm thankful for all my memories, which I will cherish forever. Although today is very emotional, I wanted to pay a short tribute to my dad. Dad was a unique character, a one-off, a strong personality, but a kind, caring, and gentle man who made a positive impression on everyone he met. He had warmth and an approachable manner, making time for everyone, young and old. He always said we must be joyful, thankful, love God, and love one another. And he devoted his life to the church and the community. He would light up any room and was always full of joy, life, and energy. And that is why seeing him deteriorate during his battle with cancer was so hard. But he was brave, and he never questioned or complained, even to the very end. Although his illness took its toll, Dad was the strongest man I knew, both mentally and physically. Even after the doctors told him there was nothing they could do, he didn't give up. Instead, and until he was able to, he walked every day around the block to keep in the best possible shape, and he enjoyed listening to the news and church services. For the last 3 months he was housebound, which was very hard, as he was always so active, but he remained upbeat and was comforted by the many messages, prayers and visits he received from all our lovely friends, relatives and neighbours. I must say, he was well looked after, and he was comforted by all of your love and support, but especially by my mum, who was by his side night and day. Dad was passionate about fundraising and supporting charitable causes, whether it was a school fete, a church dance, tea party, organising gifts to deliver to children in local hospitals, or visiting the elderly. He had great values and always wanted to help. He instilled this in his family, so we felt blessed with everything we had and also in helping others. Dad worked tirelessly to help anyone in need and took great joy in doing so. Although some of this was done publicly to raise the profile of a good cause, he equally helped many privately, offering comfort and support during difficult times, as well as celebrating on happy occasions. He was loving and caring, always happy to help anyone, whatever time of day or night, as he loved the entire community. I have many other wonderful memories. As you all know, Dad had a deep love of the church and great faith. However, he was also very relatable, down to earth and modern in his outlook, with a wonderful sense of humour. He loved music and dance, was a great football fan, supporting Tottenham Hotspur, but had a soft spot for Liverpool because this was my youngest brother's team. He also loved watching cowboy films, but he never watched them to the end, as he would always fall fast asleep. I particularly remember his joy when my daughter, his eldest grandchild, was born, and his excitement waiting for her arrival at Whittington Hospital. He always called her his princess, even when she became an adult. And he was so excited that she was following in his footsteps, studying maths and economics at university. He really loved spending time with each of his grandsons, watching football, reading stories, and proudly watching them at their Greek school yortes. Dad also had a sweet tooth. Anyone who had tea with Dad would know that he insisted on adding honey in tea and would stir it vigorously for 10 minutes before you were actually allowed to drink it. Even though he was the one to create most of the mess, he liked to help around the house, and he washed the dishes wearing his famous red apron. I remember on his last holiday in Cyprus, he would be in the sea for hours swimming deep into the ocean. He also enjoyed beach walks with my mum, and this was the first holiday they had taken together in years, and I'm so glad that they had this time together. I will never forget his last services during Holy Week of 2021. He knew he had little time remaining, but God gave him the strength to take part and share in these special and sacred services, for which I will forever be grateful and was privileged to share. Above all, I remember his warm embrace and the fact that we always said, "Love you," every time we spoke. I will miss this more than anything. Dad raised me to be strong with a deep love of God, and I'm thankful to have my faith, as this gives me comfort during this difficult time. He was my role model and my biggest inspiration. Thank you, Dad, for all the love, laughter, wisdom and encouragement. Memory eternal and never forgotten. I love you forever, Dad. Rest in peace. Αιωνία σου η μνήμη.
Just like to start by saying and echoing the sentiments of my brother and sister to thank everyone today, as Archbishop Nikítас, bishops. Sorry. I just want to start off by saying thanks to everyone for being here today. Archbishop Nikítас, Bishop Maximus, Bishop Heredit. Thank you. My dad, he really was a special person. Very unique in that he had this ability to light up any room, speak to anyone and give the right advice at the right time. He was there for so many of you, and yet he was my dad. For that, I am truly blessed and honoured. The last 10 months, he was battling each day since he received his diagnosis.
Can you read it? Can you read it?
Right up until his last breath. Two things were very important that he stressed to me. To always love and have faith, because without faith we are nothing. These are the two things I will try and take forward in my life to honour his legacy. Speaking with so many of his parishioners, friends and family, he was a pillar of the Greek community. We would go on shopping trips and he couldn't help but bump into people he knew. It was like living with a celebrity. Not until I was much older, I realised that was such a remarkable trait to have. His life with the church was intertwined with ours, and he would do his best to help all in whatever way he could, be it rushing to hospital in the middle of the night, to answering calls. He'd pick me up from school and always head to the hospice or for a tea together at one of his parishioners. Honey and lemon was the cure for each cold I would have. The perfect stir was always required for any hot drink, which was 100 stirs to the right and then again to the left. He just always seemed to know what to tell me throughout my life. His advice was invaluable, from how I should approach an exam and to always reading the question carefully, to helping me structure my essays throughout my academic life, even right up until my dissertation. Write it clearly, don't put too much, and get to the point, he would say. When we were able to go on holiday together, I always remember him pushing me to learn how to swim. And we would be in the ocean together for hours, so much so that even Coast Guards would be worried for our safety. In my later life as an adult, and being privileged enough for him to walk me down the aisle, he would say, you must look to compromise and listen to others. He had such a far reach in that he was known from Australia to America and many countries in between. I was truly humbled to see so many letters from those countries when he did have his diagnosis, and to see so many of you here today. Thank you. The world has lost a truly remarkable person, my dad.
Can I? Thank you firstly to everybody for being here to pray with us and also to celebrate with us, because Dad would want a celebration of his life. I'm going to read something and also a poem which Dad actually sent to me. I feel he sent it to me. At 1:38 a.m. on Friday 15th October, I lost my everything, my first love, my inspiration, my dad. Dad loved and was loved by so many people who he called his family. He was the most amazing dad and papu, and always there for everyone. Dad had the kindest heart, was always so full of energy and life, and would brighten every room. Thank you, Dad, for loving me with all your heart, for teaching me to have love and compassion. You taught me to be strong and to always have faith in God. I'm thankful to God for you and for your life. I was so very lucky that you were there in times of happiness and in times of sorrow. You gave me away at my wedding, was there inspiring me in my education and my work, and watched over your 5 beautiful grandchildren growing up who you love so much. I will miss you desperately, Dad. I am so grateful that you are now at peace and that we spent so much time together over the past 9 months especially, until the very, very end. I will cherish all of our memories, from a little girl growing up in church to your visits with family and friends, driving you to help people and playing and reading with your grandchildren. I know you'll always be by my side, Dad, to love and guide us. I promise to look after Mum and to look after each other. So many things remind me of you: your red apron, your books, your pens, your mess, washing up the dishes, weak tea with honey, the Gruffalo books. But overall, you are everywhere, and as Christian tells me, and he's only 6, Papu's in our hearts, always. I will miss your smile, Dad. I'll miss your embrace. I will miss hearing your voice, your footsteps. But most of all, I will miss you. Your message always was to live life to the fullest, to love and to have faith in God. I love you, Dad. Rest in peace. Watch over us from above in sunshine and in rain. You were so very brave, Dad, and now we will be brave for you. And this is the poem which came to me because my dad would always say these words to me, and I hope you don't mind me reading it, fathers. It's entitled, I Am Free. Please do not grieve for me, for now I am free. I'm following the path God laid out for me. I took his hand when I heard him call. I turned my back and I left it all. I could not stay another day to laugh, to love, to work and play. Tasks left undone must stay that way. I found my peace at the close of the day. If my parting has left a void, then fill it with remembered joys, a friendship shared, a laugh, a kiss. Oh yes, these things I too will miss. Be burdened not with time of sorrow. I wish you sunshine for each tomorrow. My life's been full, I savoured much. good friends, good times, a loved one's touch. Perhaps my time seemed all too brief. Don't lengthen in it now with undue grief. Lift up your hearts and peace to thee. God wanted me now, he set me free. Thank you.
I'd just like to leave you with a few words that Dad told one of his parishioners, and this is how he lived his life. And these are from his words. In this life, we are only judged by God on one thing: how good a person we have been to other people during our lives. Don't be a great person, but be someone who does great things for many people. Live life to the fullest, love the life you live, and always make people laugh. That is how you will be remembered. Thank you, Dad.
Σεβασμιότατε Αρχιεπίσκοπε Θειατήρων και Μεγάλης Βρετανίας, κύριε Νικήτα, σεβασμιότατε Άγιε Κολωνίας, Θεοφιλέστατη, αγαπητοί πατέρες, our dear friend, the Mayor of Haringey, αγαπητοί αδελφοί και αδελφές εν Κυρίω, κατακλείοντας την εξόδιο αυτή ακολουθία, θα μου επιτρέψετε για λίγες μόνο στιγμές να γίνω η φωνή αυτής εδώ της ενορίας και κοινότητας, αλλά ταυτόχρονα και η φωνή όχι μόνο ημών που είστε εντός του Ιερού Ναού, αλλά και όλων εκείνων που είτε μας βλέπουν από το Facebook page της Εκκλησίας, είτε μας ακούνε από το LGR, από νοσοκομεία, από γυροκομεία, από σπίτια, ανήμποροι να έρθουν εδώ για να το αποτίσουν τον τελευταίο φόρο τιμής. Θα μου επιτρέψετε να γίνω η φωνή και να πω ένα μεγάλο ευχαριστώ σε αυτόν τον ιερέα άνθρωπο, ο οποίος χόρτασε το πεινασμένο, ξεδίψασε το διψασμένο, επισκέφτηκε το φυλακισμένο, ανακούφισε τον άρρωστο, βοήθησε τον αναγκεμένο και με αυτόν τον τρόπο είμαι σίγουρος ότι καθώς κρούει τη θύρα της αγάπης του Κυρίου μας, η θύρα θα ανοίξει και ο Κύριος μας θα τον αγκαλιάσει και θα τον κατατάξει εν σκηνές δικαίων. Εάν οι τύχοι αυτής της Εκκλησίας είχαν στόμα και φωνή, θα μίλαγαν και θα έλεγαν πολλές ιστορίες, πολλά περιστατικά, πολλά γεγονότα ενός ανθρώπου ο οποίος, αν και ζει και ζούσε στη χώρα της ακρίβειας του χρόνου, δεν είχε καμία σχέση με το χρόνο, διότι αυτό που τον ενδιέφερε ήταν να προσφέρει στο συνάνθρωπο. Γι' αυτό πάντοτε αργούσε. Γιατί αργούσε? Γιατί πάντοτε είχε να δώσει πολλά στον προηγούμενο και πάντοτε έτρεχε μετά στο δρόμο. Και Θεός ξέρει πώς τον προστάτευσε, καθώς έτρεχε από νοσοκομείο σε νοσοκομείο, από νεκροταφείο σε νεκροταφείο, πολλές φορές ώρες μεταμεσονύκτιες, και επιβεβαίωσε την ευθύνη και το καθήκον όλων μας να είμαστε πάνω απ' όλα άνθρωποι της αγάπης. Yet Father was very highly interested in the youth. He strongly believed that the youth is the future of our faith and our church. And this is the reason why he taught us not through words, not through volumes of books, but through his example. He was always an open embrace to everyone, irrespectively of gender, color, faith, whatever identity we may have invented for ourselves. And in our times, that mixed marriages have more or less become the norm, he embraced people of other denominations, and he made them to love our faith, our church, our traditions. And many families not only in Haringey, but all over North London, all over London. They are still talking about him, how kindly and lovingly and faithfully he baptized them, he married them, he offered them their last rites, he buried them. But most of all, he was always there. And this is an unsurpassable example for all of us, to be there always, without trying to find excuse or any other reason not to be by our fellows. This has been Father Andreas, and we ask from him to remember us in his prayers in the kingdom of heaven, because his voice, his quite distinctive and clear and strong voice, will now be heard by our Creator. He is closer to him, and this is not a farewell service. This is a see you again service, because we are going to meet him and see him again when the time comes. Till then, we pray for him, he is praying for us, and this is the invisible thread connecting us here on earth with him in heaven. On behalf of the family of Father Andreas, I would like to express our gratitude to His Eminence, because he has always been by the side of the family. He has visited numerous times Father Andreas, either in the hospital or in his house. And I have to tell you only one thing. Father Andreas was so jubilant every time he was meeting His Eminence. And even now, during the last difficult days, it was something unbelievable. After days of not talking to other people, after days of feeling so bad, whenever His Eminence was entering his house, he was alive and vibrant again. And he started talking and talking and talking about the church, nothing else. Εκφράζοντας λοιπόν την οικογένεια του αγαπητού μας πατέρα Ανδρέα, εκφράζω ευγνωμοσύνη προς το Σεβασμιότατο, διότι στάθηκε στο πλευρό της οικογένειας ως λαμπάδα αναμένη, παρέχοντάς τους παρηγοριά, ανακούφιση, αλλά πάνω από όλα αυτό που χρειαζόμαστε όλοι αυτές τις στιγμές, κατανόηση, να καταλάβουμε τι συμβαίνει, για ποιο λόγο συμβαίνει και για ποιο λόγο οφείλουμε να έχουμε την ελπίδα μας στον Κύριο. Ευχαριστώ πολύ.
Presbytera, if you and the family will allow me to thank on your behalf, on behalf of this community, the Lord Mayor, for being with us and honoring us, because Father Andreas belonged to the greater community. And those who come from other faith traditions, clergy and laity, for praying with us. Because in a time of difficulty, no matter who we are, no matter what we believe, we come together to give comfort to one another. May God rest his soul. Ο Θεός να τον αναπαύσει και την ευχή του να έχουμε.